Welcome to Real Sports Overtime. I'm Bryant Gumbel, sitting here with John Frankel, and we're talking soccer because we both had very different kinds of pieces that related to soccer. Let's start with yours and the ridiculous amounts of money that are being spent in Brazil to host not only the upcoming Olympics, but also the World Cup, which is next month.
I think one of the biggest problems with these countries and these cities that try and put on these events is that they're basically trying to manufacture an infrastructure in a very controlled, finite period of time. So 7 years seems like a long way out when you're awarded the games, be it the World Cup or the Olympic Games. But cities evolve because of demand. You know, nobody just says, boom, here, let's do it. And now all of a sudden you've got this compressed time frame.
And they do say, boom, let's do it.
And they do say, boom, let's do it. And they have so many different parties that all have different agendas, be it cities, municipalities, administrators, legislators, and of course the sports federations themselves that want certain venues to look certain ways.
In the course of Rio, they're also displacing a number of people who occupied these favelas, which are the Brazilian slums.
Yes.
Where are they moving those people?
Well, in some cases, they're only, and this is where the Brazilian government tries to rationalize, they're only moving them. In one case, we saw housing that was literally, you know, a couple blocks away. And to be honest, it looked like nicer housing.
Well, anything's nicer than the favelas. I mean,
yes,
having seen them.
But it's literally across the street from where they did live. And what their rationale is, well, we didn't move them to build a stadium, we moved them to build a bus line or a rail line. Well, you're building that rail line in order to accommodate the people that you think are going to come to watch your world sporting event.
Yeah, and in some instances, the stadiums really, I don't want to say they're not warranted, because obviously they're going to play a game or two there, but you talked about one stadium, they're going to play 4 games there.
4 games.
4 games.
In Manaus.
As in 4 games.
Yeah, it's absurd. I mean,
and the stadium's costing what?
Close to $300 million, $270 million.
$75 million a game.
Right. I mean, it's absurd. And if you look at Brazil in particular, FIFA, the governing body for soccer, only asked them, required them to build or refurbish 8 stadiums. They took it upon themselves to refurbish and build 12, which just shows you that it's political graft. I mean, they're just...
It's not only political graft, it seems. It also seems that they are in competition, you know, that they are in competition with Barcelona, with Athens, with those that have gone before, to say we can do it better, we can spend more, we can make it look prettier.
And I think one of the problems with these places is that it's the emerging countries that have the most difficult problems with these things, right? If you came to New York, I mean, if you really had to, and somebody said, New York, could you host the Olympics in 2016? It's a turnkey operation. Sure. The hotels, the stadiums, you'd make it work. You might not be able to roll out the red carpet and have all the window dressing that you want. But these countries don't have it, except for, in the case of Brazil, they have soccer stadiums.
But to show you how the graft, it would suggest, is somewhat out of control, look at what's happening with Qatar. They've agreed that this is a mistake. It's too hot to have it, so we're going to push it back. We're not going to do it during the summer months. We're going to do it during the winter months.
Well, and at one point they were going to try and air-condition open-air facilities, I mean, which just, I mean, talk about waste.
Yeah.
To me, I'm an advocate when it comes to the Olympics. Pick a location. Let's call Athens the home of the home of the Olympics.
Whatever you want to do. Let's go back there all the time.
Let's just go back there all the time. We'll make sure that we can upgrade these stadiums easily with technology as we advance. But here it is. And you know what? Everybody loves going back to Augusta every year to play the Masters. Nobody complains. So what's wrong with everybody going back?
Wimbledon being another one.
Huh?
Wimbledon being another.
What's wrong with going back to Athens?
Being another one.
Here it is.
What's the matter with going back to the same place over and over again?
It is our consumption, and you know, the biggest problem, and maybe I'm throwing darts here, but it's, you know, then the people on the IOC don't get to take their fancy tours of all the cities.
Right.
And
well, soccer is also facing 2 other problems. One of them is match fixing, which we are going to talk about in an upcoming show. But racism, which we looked at 9 years ago and revisited this time around, I don't think people in this country have an appreciation for just how pervasive a problem it is. I mean, it is commonplace. It's not unusual when a black player touches a ball on the pitch in Europe. It is not unusual to hear monkey chants. It is not unusual to have bananas thrown at them. I mean, it's frightening. We had an instance in Italy last week, 2 weeks ago, where the Prime Minister and others were waiting to play the game, but the local head of the fan base there was unhappy with the way things were, and they held up the game because of it, and they had to go get his approval to start. This is something that's out of control.
I'm curious what the players told you and how conflicted they are. They obviously want to play on the biggest stage, and that means going to Europe. But if they know that that's what they're going to face...
They view it as a fact of life. You know, the same as playing in bad weather or playing in a hostile territory. They just view it as if somebody's going to choose to act ignorant, there's not a lot you can do to stop them. And you know, the penalties, while they're talking about stiffer penalties, how do you penalize them? If you're going to penalize the home team, let's say it's Yankees-Red Sox, and you're going to penalize the Red Sox, which, by the way, is a great idea. If you're going to penalize the Red Sox for acting in a certain fashion, well, if I'm a Yankee fan, why wouldn't I go up to Fenway and act that way and get the Red Sox penalized? And so, you know, it's very difficult. Yes, you can do certain things to control disorder in the stands, but it's very tough to identify the 1 out of 20 who's starting the chant, the 2 out of 10 who are throwing a banana, or.
But what's interesting in your piece is that you can see the people that are going to act this way because they come dressed in their outfits and they're carrying their banners and their signs. Is why not just simply say, you're not coming in? Well,
but some of the banners are just passionate fans. I mean, you know, yes, we have banners that some say, you know, the ovens are your home. Yeah, I mean, obviously. But some of them are just passionate fans. Now, in England, they've had great success in addressing it by having hidden cameras and by having forces on there, and also, as they do in the United States now, having officers of the law dress up as fans, basically working undercover. But you know, it's kind of like spooning water out of the ocean. You're just not going to get there from here.
I'm always confused when the interview that you did with the gentleman in Britain.
Yeah.
That you know, he's willing to talk to you, but he doesn't want any blacks in the country, and he doesn't want any blacks on his soccer pitch.
I'm sure the minute I said goodbye to him, he wanted to ask, when are you leaving? Yeah. All right, John, thanks much. And thank you for joining us on HBO Overtime.